Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Tanesha and Desiree. Again, I'm Tanesha.
And I'm Desiree.
Okay, so last week we were talking about relationships, and you shared some perspective on why is it so difficult for our single women in the church to find someone and to wait on the Lord. And so today you're going to bust my chops about it.
Yeah, I am, because I want to know about the marriage side. I want to know, because now I'm saying the statistics are saying that Christians are getting divorced rate. Because the divorce rate, because I want to know what is going on. The divorce rate is just as high or getting up there to the, those who are not Christians. So I'm trying to understand from someone who aspires to get married, what's going on? I mean, and from the saved side, help me.
Well, I think just to seal it all in a nutshell, it goes back to what you said. People are not waiting on the Lord, and they are not trusting God to work out whatever the situation is, and then you encounter individuals who don't want them to work it out.
Ooh. You know what? I think you're right, because I think everybody knows that marriage is work, but yeah, it's something to me that should be even more
serious.
I see you, right? I see you. But I really want to know, because I would think, we're saying we have faith and we're believing in a power and a force higher than us that can heal and solve any situation we have, and we pray to God about everything. But yet these people who are married and claiming that they're praying for healing and deliverance and all these things can't pray for the healing of their marriage and then hold on until it happens. Help me understand why that doesn't happen. Whoa, freaky!
Again, a lot of us could say a lot of things, and I'm sure that if we were talking to someone who has gone through divorce, they would have, X, Y, and Z of what brought them to that place.
Okay.
I'm asked the question all the time of how have I managed to stay married? How have I managed to overcome certain challenges and obstacles that I faced during my marriage? For me, I have thought about divorce on more than one occasion.
That's
several times.
That's real.
But every time I go back to God and I lay it out to Him what the situation is, what I'm faced with, and I'm honest. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm getting tired. I've been waiting for a long time. Whatever the case may be, I find that He's a real God, and He always answers.
All right, we're about to start shouting.
And He always answers with a word that keeps me in it. Okay. Now, I don't want to judge, because I know that there are some circumstances where, divorce just may be the answer. But for me, over the past 17 years, God has always responded with the, you can do it. He's always responded with, go a little further. And then I tell people all the time, the people that I have in my inner circle, they are my biggest support. They never talk me out of it.
Oh, good.
Their conversation and their encouragement is always to keep me in it. And I think that is so important when you're dealing with any situation, and especially with marriage, because marriage is under such a great attack right now, that you need to surround yourself, and not just the women, but the men as well.
It's a support system, basically.
But both. But we're going to talk about the women. The women need to surround themselves around other women that are going to keep them in the game. I have seen so many times how other women have talked women up out of their homes, up out of their, marriages, out of a situation that they have invested in, and someone has told them something or put a little seed in their ear, and it grew, and then they ended up thinking, what the crap has happened? So for me, it's just important that I keep these individuals around me, because like I've said this so many times, I don't hang around people. When I say that, I mean people that are in my inner circle. We do battle. I don't hang around weak people. So when I find myself in trouble, or when I find myself weak, I know that the people that I'm rolling with, they're coming strong. And when they come strong, they're coming strong in prayer. They're coming strong in encouragement, and in support of keeping me in the game. And I think that's just the biggest thing for me.
Well, you think the tricky part, and I'm thinking because I'm single, it's easy for me to keep myself, like, if I get off focus, I can say, okay, Des, get it together, get focused, get back on your game, continue on, press on. But when you have two people and trying to get two people to function cohesively when, different things happen, and I would think, it's a little bit harder when one person can fall off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even though it is easier, the Bible says that it's easy, two is better than one, because when one falls or gets distracted, the other one can kind of get them back on track. But when you're trying to go in that same direction and one is just not there where you are, and by that I mean focus, because everybody gets these revelations at different times, and if one isn't willing to listen, I would imagine that kind of makes it a little bit harder.
Well, I know for me, whenever I'm in a situation of feeling defeat or feeling tired or feeling overwhelmed, that's mostly because I have allowed myself to take my eyes off of God. And I have started to look at the situation.
Exactly.
But as long as I keep my focus on God, then everything is all good. And so many times we lose track or we lose sight of what God is doing in us, doing for us, and we start looking at what we're involved in. And I tell women all the time, and I know this to be true, and I have not always used it, but I can change any situation in my home at any time if I choose to do it. If I choose to do it, like anytime I decide that enough is enough, anytime that I decide that the atmosphere is not right, or whatever the case may be, I have the authority within me to change that around at any time.
Absolutely.
And whenever has lingered on and it hasn't changed, I don't blame God. I blame myself, because I say, you know what, you've given me the authority. Everything that I need is in me. I'm just not using it.
Right.
And as soon as I pull up and I start using it, there's going to be a change. But without a shadow of a doubt, there's going to be a change. People's attitudes are going to come in line.
Including your spouse's.
And including mine.
Right.
And including mine. So many times what happens is we get tired and we feel like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Or I just want to sit over here. I'm sick of dealing with you and this, that, and the other. But marriage is something that you can't quit on.
So then, well, wait a minute. Then how do you get that? Do you come together collectively with your spouse and say, you know what, we're off. Let's get it together. Let's shift. Let's go before God. I mean, how do you do that? Because, like I said, if you have one spouse, and I think that's what sometimes happens in the church. Sometimes there's one spouse who may not be, totally sold out to God and hearing from heaven, like, those who are totally focused. And then how do you get that person to say, okay, look, babe, I know you're thinking about divorce, you're thinking like this was a mistake, but I believe God is saying that we can salvage our marriage. What if they're not ready to hear that?
Well, again, I always tell people, and I honestly believe this, if you're the one that's in right relationship with God, then He's going to honor that.
Okay.
He's going to honor that. If I've heard people say so many times, well, he doesn't want the relationship, or she doesn't want the relationship. But I said, what do you want? Well, I want the relationship. I said, then you go to God and you make the petition. And since you're the one in right relationship with Him, He's going to honor that.
Right.
There's no way that He's not going to honor that. Now, the thing about it is you don't know how He's going to do it. You don't know when He's going to do it. And that's what we want to know.
Yeah.
Most people would have stayed married if they realized in the next 30 days things were going to turn around.
Right.
When the kids all graduated, it was going to be this. Or once you got over the sickness, or you were going to get a promotion, or whatever the challenge was.
Give up too soon.
Right.
If you right around the corner.
Realize that, So you have to remember that this is a long-term investment. And just like the stock market, you're going to put a lot of money in, and it's going to be years before you get something out. And you just have to be willing to go forth and believe God and trust God. You cannot take your eyes off of God for 1 second, because if you do, you're going to get twisted up. You're going to get turned up.
You know what? I think we're both saying the same thing from a single in the marriage. It's the same thing, but both of us, no matter what, the bottom line is you got to trust God.
You got to
have faith in whatever state. Because to me, if you trust Him while you're single, then you're going to be in prayer and praying that you get the right mate.
Right.
Then when you get the right mate, then when you get married and you hit those tough times, then you know that you two can come together and be like, you know what, babe, right. we believe that this was right from the jump because we sought God out.
That's so nice, babe. You know who we call me, girl.
I'm telling you, I feel that thing in the spirit. But I'm just saying, though, but I'm just saying, I think it's a process and a progression that matriculates into, you know, what we're saying. I think we're both saying the same thing. Bottom line, trust and believe God.
Okay, we're saying the same thing. Again, it's Conversations with Tanesha and Desiree. We're going to leave you with whatever the situation is. You got to trust God. You got to lean heavily on Him because you can't do it by yourself. Again, thanks for joining us, and we hope to hear from you. We want to hear what you think. And we appreciate all of our viewers so very much. Thanks for joining us. Bye.